of classes in Java. Inheritance is not just in Java, but we are doing it here in Java. The idea of inheritance, I believe all of you know about it. Yes, you can see it in the system database when it's ready. The inheritance of classes means we can have a superclass, a subclass, like how you saw when we had super entity and sub entity. Yes. So the subclass inherits everything from the super. Everything means what? All attributes and methods. That's the meaning of everything. And the subclass can have its own attributes and methods. The superclass can have multiple subclasses, but the subclass has only one superclass. This we call it one direction. It calls a single inheritance. Single inheritance. In some other languages, maybe we have multiple inheritance, but in Java, it's single. Single inheritance means the sub has only one parent. Like the child has only one parent. The parent can have many childs. So here is the same. Superclass can have many subclasses. Every one of subclasses is taking everything from the superclass. And every one of subclasses can have its own attributes and methods which are not shared between others. Everything in the superclass is shared for all subclasses. The idea is clear, right? Okay, let's look at this example. The example about there are so many examples. Let's say we have a student or student class with attributes. Or let me start with something simple, not student. Let's say we have a square class. What are the attributes of the square? Side, integer side, which is the length of the side. And we suppose we have the position, which is x and y. the length of the side, the position which is x, y coordinates. Then we have a rectangle class. The rectangle has with attributes. What are the attributes of the rectangle? The length and the width. The position, which is x and y. So how can we, the method here, we can have two methods. What are the methods? Area, circumference, and here methods area and circumference. So we have many things are common. Now suppose I don't here say this is the superclass. If you look at what do we have of facts here, how you will choose which one is the super, which one is the sub. When you look here, you realize I want to use the inheritance feature. Yeah, I am repeating the question. When you look at the case here, we have two classes, and we can see there are a lot of shared things, shared attributes, shared methods. So we decide to use the inheritance. But we still need to decide which one is the super, which one is the sub. How can you decide about this? Yes, tell me. Okay, the square is the super, the rectangle is the sub, but how? Why? Why not the rectangle is the super and square is the sub? Yes, what do you think? As those attributes can exist without square and rectangle. shape can be the superclass. We don't have shape. We have only two classes, square and rectangle, and we need to decide about these two, which one is the superclass, which one is the subclass. Yes. If we make rectangle as a super, then length and width will come for the square. Yes, that's correct. The square has only length. Let's call it length because it's length of the side. The square has one attribute, which is length. The rectangle has two, length and width. So if rectangle is the super, then it means the square must have two, length and width. But if square is the super, then the length of the side will be moved to the rectangle, and the rectangle can have extra attributes. And this is exactly the idea of the super and sub. The subclass can have a extra, something more. Okay, so we decide and we understand square is the super and rectangle is the sub. Now let's see how to implement it. New Java project. Inheritance project. Next. Right click. Square. Now for the square, I have integer. No, let me start with private integer side. Private integer x and y. Then let me generate everything from source. Generate the constructor. Generate. I don't need the super. And let's generate other getter and setters. Okay, generate all of them, and finally generate the toString. Then let's not override. Then I will generate, oh no, not generate, I will create the area. The area method. Public integer area. The area of the square is what? Side times side. The circumference public integer circumference. The circumference of a square is 2 times side. Now let's create the rectangle. New class. Rectangle. How to make the class inherit another class? We use extend. Extends in Java means inherit. Extends what? Extends square. Four. Yeah, 4. That's correct. Not 2. It's 4. 4 sides. Correct. What are the attributes of the rectangle? What I have to declare here? Only the extra. Only one, which is the width. So private integer width. Now, do I need to declare xy? No. Do I need to declare length? No. Why? Because extends here enough. Once we use extends square, it means everything here now already moved there. So if you do, it doesn't mean, yeah, okay, I have them, but let me create. No, that's wrong. So if you here define private length as the side, this is wrong. Private integer. This is wrong. Don't do it, because it's gonna be different than the previous one. It's like another one. If you want to use that one, then use it without create a new one. How to create the constructor? I will not generate it. Let me show you how to create it. Public rectangle. Now, What I have to put here, I have to put everything. Integer. Side, comma, integer width, comma, integer x, comma, integer y. All of them. Then, what I'll get from the superclass, I put inside super. What I'll get from the superclass, I'll get side, x, y. These I'm getting from the super class, and what is remaining, this dot width equals width. That's how we create the constructor of the subclass. All arguments, both what we have. Why all? Because the rectangle here technically has all, not just width. It has side, it has width, it has x and y. But there is something very important, which is here. Private. The private attribute cannot be moved to the subclass. If I want to do an inheritance, I must not use private. What I have to use? Protected. So let me change private into protected. Protected. The protected attribute is accessible through the superclass and all its subclasses. The private is only by the class. So the subclass here will inherit in an all way. The extends here means moving everything from the superclass to the subclass. But the problem is it's not accessible. If we make it public, it will be accessible here and everywhere. So no more encapsulation, no more privacy. Private, only the class. Public, everywhere. If you have 100 classes, all of them will access to the attributes, including the public class. If it's protected, then the superclass and all subclasses. That's why when we have inheritance, we should use protected. Exactly. Now, after creating the constructor, how about getters and setters? Getters and setters. We have here getters and setters of side, x, and y. We have the toString, we have area and circumference, but what I don't need get side, I don't need set side, I don't need for x and y, but I need it for the width. So public integer get width return width, and public void set width integer width this dot width equals width. No Sangita, we don't need, that's it. Now here in this rectangle we have all getters and setters from the superclass, and we have get width and set width. Now how about the toString? Do we need another toString, or we can use that toString? What do you think? Do we need another toString? Why? We have a toString. But yes, we need another one. Why? We still need the width, which is not there. So what can I do? I can go to the square. I have public string to string. I can get it here, copy, and go here, paste. And what I do, I add the width. But where I have to add the width, I'll add it here. So side equals plus side, comma. Before this, I will put comma width equals plus width plus all the string. Yeah, don't have, okay. So side plus side, comma, width plus width. Okay. What I'm doing here is called override. Override. What is the override? We have overloading and we have overriding. What does it mean, the overriding? Overriding means create create a method in the subclass when it's already created in the super class. Or the best to say recreate. Recreate because it's already created. So recreate a method in the subclass when it's already created in the superclass. This is overriding. Using the same name and same signature. Exactly same name and same signature. If any change of the signature, then it's overloading, not overriding. The idea of overriding to be exactly the same name, exactly the same signature. This is overriding. If you change the signature, then it's overloading, not overriding. Here it says side and here it says square, so I need to change this. It's rectangle and its length. Now we can override the area and the circumference. We need to override them. Yes, we need, because the implementation, the body of the method is different. Yeah, it has the same name and signature, but different. So public integer area return what? Side times width. And what? The circumference. Public integer circumference return 2 times side plus width. And finally we close. Any questions? Okay, let's create the application class test class. It has public static void main, square equals new square of 18. It's not enough. 18 is the side. 10 by 10 is the position. Rectangle equals new rec of 20, 16, the position is 50 by 50. Here I have to use rectangle, and here the name is rec. System dot out dot println square and its area. System dot out dot println square dot area. Run as Java application. The square side 18 and the area is okay, so I can go back here. Okay, no problem, no need, as everything is okay. I can here print the area equals plus. Let me do the same for the square, the rectangle, sorry. Rec as you see, the rectangle length is 20, width is 16, x by 50 by 50, and this is the area. It's clear, nothing no surprises, everything going smooth. Now, what if I want to create an array, one array of mixed squares and rectangles in the same array? Can I do that? One-dimensional array. Before I do, let me add one more class. Circle. I want this circle to extend square. The circle has what? What attribute the circle has? A radius. I suppose the radius is the side. So I have radius x and y. No, I don't need the diameter. The radius is enough because the diameter is 2 of the circle. So I don't need to create or to add any attributes. I'll assume the side here. Suppose the radius is the side of the square. So no need to add any more attributes. I'll create the constructor public circle. What do I have for the circle? I have integer side, comma, integer x, comma, integer y. Super, all of them. Side, x, and y. No getter, no setter, because it's the same. For the toString, I can get the toString of the square and do the changes. Here it's not a square, it's circle. And here is not a side, it's radius. For the area, of course I need to change because I have different formula to calculate the area. So public integer area. How to find the area? The area is return radius, which is side times side times math dot pi. But the area, I defined it as integer. Actually, I defined it by as integer for all, which was from the beginning wrong. It should be double. So let me go back here and make it double, even the circumference double. And for the rectangle, I'll make it double, double. Then for the circle, I'll make it double. Public double circumference. The circumference of the circle is what? It's 2 times side times math dot pi. Okay, now let's go here. I have 3 classes. Yes, thank you. So here if I print again, where's the error? Here in the circle. Okay. So let's go to our idea. I need to create one array which is mixed of different shapes: square, circle, and rectangle. Create one array and fill it with different objects: square, squares, rectangles, and circles. What should be the type of this array? Who can tell me? What should be the type of this array? Which one? The array will contain objects. Each item in the array is either square or rectangle or circle. Whenever we want to do this, we have to make the array type as the superclass. Because technically the subclass is super with some changes. So square shapes equals new square, let's say 6. Now, how to fill this? Let me create a method to fill it. Public filling. I'll fill the shapes, so square shapes void. It has to be void. Filling by the keyboard from the user. So I'll go up here and put import java.util star, and here scanner sc equals new scanner system.in, capital S. Okay. Now, for integer I equals 0, I less than shapes dot length I plus plus. What do we need? We can, from the beginning, ask the user what the user wants. Circle, square, or rectangle. Or we can ask about the position first, then let the user choose. Because the position is okay, every one of them can have a position. It's not something special. That's why I'll start with positions. System dot out dot print len, enter the coordinate of x. Integer x equals sc dot next int. The coordinate of y okay. Now system dot out dot print len choose. Let me tell the user to choose one for choose /n, one for the square /n, two for the rectangle /n, three for the circle. Integer choice. Switch choice. I have to read what's the value for the choice. Now, switch choice. Case 1, what I'll do. System dot out dot println, enter the square side. Integer side equals sc dot next int. Then creating the object. How? Side, not side, shape shapes of I equals new square what is this? Yes, new square of x comma y comma, no, not x, we start with side comma x comma y. Break. Case 2, system.out.println, enter the rectangle length. Integer length equals sc dot next integer. Then I repeat this here with width. Then I repeat this, but it's not a square, it's rectangle with length comma x comma y. Let me remember the rectangle. Side width xy, so here length, which is side, comma width comma xy. Then break. Case 3, what? System dot out dot println, enter the circle radius. So integer radius equals sc dot next int. Then directly I create shapes of I equals a new circle of radius comma x comma y. Filling of shapes. Why filling is problem? Because it's not static. So let me make it static. The SC has to be static. I can't use non-static attribute inside a static method. Let's do the printing. The printing, we can do it here. System, for integer I equals 0, I less than shapes dot length I plus plus. System dot out dot println shapes of I. Let me fix the length here. Run. Okay. X is 10. Y is 10. For square, let me enter a circle. The radius is 20. The coordinate of x, 20 by 20. Choose. I'll choose a square. Enter the square side. 12. Coordinates 30 by 30. It's a square. The square length 15. Just a second, Elmi. The square width is 10. Coordinates 40 by 40. What I want a rectangle. Length 20. Width 15. 50 by 50. I want another circle, another square. The side is 17. 60 by 60. I want a circle. What's the radius? 8. Look here, what do we have? Circle, square, rectangle, rectangle, square, circle. Yes, in the test, can we use a non-static attribute inside a static method? And the answer is false. It's not true. Maybe by mistake I made the correct answer as true, so I will change it. So anybody who answers false, it's correct. Now let's get back here. Let's focus here. No. I show you here. I created a non-static method, but it's not working. Technically, we can create, but it's useless, which means we can't. Now here, any questions about creating homogeneous array? Okay. Now, when let me add here shapes of I dot area. When I call the area, yes, I will. When I get the circumference, now shapes of I dot area. Shapes of I is what? Shapes is what? Shapes is a square. Do you see here? Now shapes of I dot area. How many method called area do we have? Guys, how many? We have 3. So here, the system has shapes of I dot area. The system will call which one? Which one of the 3? The square. But what if we are talking about a circle? What if this shapes of I, the object is a circle? What if the object is a rectangle? I will not call the filling. Let me show you something. Square of, no, not square, shapes of 0 equals new square 20 20 20. System dot out dot println shapes of 0 dot area. Let me stop this. Look at the area, 400, right? Shapes of 0 equals new circle 20, 20, 20. Repeat this. Look at the answer. System dot out dot println shapes of 0 dot area. System dot out dot println shapes of 0 dot area. I have exact the same statement. Exactly the same, no difference. And 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, the same numbers. But I have different output. Why? How come? And for sure, if I repeat it once more, and here use rectangle, so it's the same shapes of 0 dot area, and it gives me a different. You can see and you can tell. What do you think? What is happening? And let me add here system dot out dot println shapes of 0. I will copy and paste it here. Here. Exactly the same. It's copy paste. 400 square and side xy 1256 point something circle radius blah 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 300 rectangle length width xy. What is happening? It's the same shapes of 0 dot area, shapes of 0, shapes of 0, shapes of 0 dot area, shapes of 0, shapes of 0 dot area. I'm using exact the same object, which is shapes of 0, and exact code, exact statement, but every time I get different results. Why? Because new square, new what? Circle, new rectangle, Here, new, when I use new, here I'm creating the object. Square shapes, here I'm not creating object. I'm just creating an empty array. The type of the array is square, but objects inside the array may be square, maybe rectangle, maybe circle. How can I choose after I use new? New what? Square. So now the system knows shapes of 0 is a square. When I call area, the system will go to the square and get the method area from the square. Then I changed. Now the shapes of 0 is not a square, it's a circle. So here, area, the system will go directly to the what? To the method area, where inside the circle. And here, area inside the rectangle. This case, or this feature of Java, we call it polymorphism. Polymorphism. Polymorphism means we can do what? Yes. What is the polymorphism? Polymorphism. Polymorphism is a feature of inheritance. Without inheritance, we don't have polymorphism. So the polymorphism is related to using the same object to call different methods. It's like the reference. Let me tell you what is the reference. Square shape, or SH. Square, square SH2 equals new square square SH2 equals new square. This here is an object. SH2 is an object. SH1, let me call it SH1. SH1 is not an object. It's a reference. Reference to the square class. This reference is able to be an object of the circle, of the square, of the rectangle. I can make it any of them. So here, this is a reference. But when I use new, this is an object. Now, how to make the reference object? SH1 equals new, maybe new rectangle. Okay, new rectangle, 12 8, 20, 20. Now sh1 is a rectangle. If I call the method sh1.area, it will go to the rectangle. sh1.area, if I change, exactly the same case here for the circle, for this example. I'm here calling the sh1 dot to string. Rectangle, square, and circles, even it's the same. So we have one reference, and we are using the name of the reference here, and here, and here, to call the same method, but every time we are calling different method. Here we call the area inside the rectangle, and here we call the area, sorry, not the area, let me put area to be clear. And here we call the area, and here we call the area. So this is the polymorphism. Before we finish this idea, let me show you something. Now here we have a rectangle, right? The rectangle has one more method, which is not in the square. What is that method? Get and set, two methods, get and set for the width. I will call this method system.out sh1 dot get width. It's not there. It's not there. Look at the square, the rectangle here. Get width. Get width. It's here. Get width. But here, create method get width in the type square. Even before I write the name of the method, dot, what methods do I have? I have side, x, y, area, circumference, and I have other things. Many things, but not. When I put get, what do I have? I have get side, get x, get y, even I have get class. But where is the get width? It's not there. Why? Who can tell me why? Yes, that's the answer. Even here, when I call the area, I'm calling the area from the rectangle. But I have an area method in the square. So we can't call any method if it's not in the type of the reference. In other words, we can't call a method which is not exist in the superclass. Any method you want to call has to be in the superclass. When the method in the superclass, but it's overridden in subclasses, then the system will go to the subclass. But at first, the system will go to the super and check if the method is there. If it's there, okay. If it's not there, you can't call it. So what can I do here? How can I call this method? I need to change the type. I need to change the reference. Otherwise, I can't. If the reference here is rectangle, is okay. But as it's square, I can't. So what can I do? I don't want to make it a rectangle, because if I make it a rectangle, I can't create a circle. I can't create a square. Look here, if I make it rectangle, where I'm writing, not here, sorry, here. Let's forget about this one. Now, if I make it rectangle, let me get back to this one. sh dot get width. Do you see? I have the get width now. I have it. But to get width, I lose the square, I lose the circle. So I can't. What I have to do, I have to create a new reference. My charger, really? Thank you for telling me this. Yeah, it's 9%. Okay, let me just explain this. Actually, I don't need to recreate a reference, but what I can do, I can change the type of the reference here, just here, to call the getWidth. So I change the type of the reference temporarily here for this statement here. We have something in Java called casting. Casting means change the type, but when we change the type from upper to lower, we call it casting. Casting is very easy, just put the type. Let me show you what I mean by casting here. Double A equals to 3.75. If I want to cast A from double into integer, system dot out dot print len A. Then system dot out dot println integer A. Look down, forget about this. Look down. 23.75, then 23. So here, integer A, I'm casting A from double into integer. This is casting. Casting. Can I do the casting here? Yes. How? Before I write the name of the variable, I want to cast it into rectangle. So rectangle sh1. That's the casting. Dot get. I still don't have getWidth. Why? Because I'm trying to get it for the sh1. Let me get it for the result of the casting. How? Result of the casting when I put all of them between parentheses. Now dot get width, it's here. I find the get width, not for the sh1, It's for the casting of the SH1. The casting of the SH1 to a rectangle made me be able to find the gate width. Do you understand? Or if you don't want it to be this, let me show you what you can do. You can here define a new one, rectangle S, rectangle R, EC equals the casting of SH1. Now rec is the casting of SH1, so I can use rec dot get width. So these two together it's up to you. Either you declare a new one, or you merge this step inside the system.out.println. Both are correct. Casting no, because it's square. Square rec equals rectangle. No, this not gonna work. It has to be rectangle rec. Like here, integer b, or let me do it down here, integer b equals integer a. Then instead of printing integer a here, I print what? B. So this is here the casting, not here. But if I put double, then it's not casting because it remains double. It's kind of nonsense. So let me explain here. Let me take the code here and explain polymorphism. Calling different methods from the super or class or any of subclasses using the same reference, but the reference type must be the super class. This is the idea of polymorphism. Example, this is the example without the casting. Let me remove the casting to not confuse you. In this example, we are calling the same method, which is area, using the same reference, which is sh1, but every time the system is calling a different method, depend on the class of the object. Of the reference. Note: we can call only methods exist in the class of the reference type. In other words, if the method only exists in the super class. So, if any time we need to call a method which is which exists in any of subclasses but not in the superclass, then we need casting. Example, we can do the same using this statement. out.println rectangle sh1 dot get width. Is it clear, guys? Okay, now let's go back to our example and the filling. After we filling, now suppose what I want. Print the width of any rectangle in the array. Now I will fill the array here. After filling the array, I have no idea which one is a rectangle, which one is not a rectangle. You understand what I mean? Now, when I use filling, how can I remember? How can I know? How can I remember which one is rectangle? Yeah, okay, we have 6, so maybe we can remember. But if we have 60, if we have different, if we are not we are, it's not just if, we are the programmers, but not the data entry. The user is different person. So how can we know which one is a rectangle? We will have collection of shapes. These shapes are rectangles, squares, circles, and we need here to print the width of rectangle, any rectangle in the array. Maybe the array doesn't have any rectangle. Maybe when the user enters the details, doesn't choose to enter any rectangle. Maybe all of them rectangles, maybe one, maybe two. So how can I know? We have a method to check what is the real class of this reference or of this object, because they are objects. So here what I'll do, for integer I equals 0, I less than shapes dot length I plus plus. If shapes of I instance of rectangle, always I have this problem. It's me. Instance or instance small, yeah, small. instance of rectangle. If it's a rectangle, then I can do the casting and I can print system dot out dot println the width equals plus casting. So to do the casting, I have to convert it into rectangle, rectangle what? Shapes of I dot get width. So I don't do the casting just randomly, because the casting will not work unless the object is really rectangle. If the object here is a circle and I try to cast it, it's not gonna work. So the only way to know if it's a rectangle is using instance of. If shapes of I instance of rectangle, then do this. If not, forget about it. Do you understand? To check what is the class of the object, we use instance of. Instance of. Example. Okay, so now I know you need a break, but we almost reached the end of the class. So bear with me. Instead of giving you a break, I'll let you go, because if you go on a break, that's it, the time is over. Before you go, I'll give you, of course, I'll send you this code, but let me give you an exercise to do it. Then you can go create classes as following. Class you know what? I want to postpone this exercise because there is another thing I need to add. We haven't done with the inheritance. There is something more I want to add to the inheritance. So let's postpone this exercise. You have the project, you can start working on the project. That's enough for you.